As we arrive back in the Overworld, let's take a minute to plot out where those teleportation pads are in the light world. Mainly because I have no idea when else I would be able to point this out.
Man, the light world is just so much more dangerous than I remember. Anyways,
There's the one on top of Death Mountain, this one which is south of the Eastern Palace, there's this one in the northwest corner of the swamp, this one which is located near the Lost Woods. Oh, and if you pass through Hyrule Castle's gate, it also brings you to the Dark World. There are other warp points, but we can't get to them yet. Now that the obligatory montage is done, let's head towards the next dungeon. Looking at our map in the Dark World, we can see that the next dungeon seems to be in the location that's parallel to the Lost Woods. We might as well head in that direction. Note, we can get there by using the warp tile near the Lost Woods, but that's boring. This way we can use our hookshot to grapple across the river. Whee! Walking towards the dungeon, we find the Dark World's equivalent of the graveyard, the Ghostly Garden.
which I'm just realizing the graveyard hasn't come up until right at this moment.
That's what I get for writing these on a weekly schedule. Next, you're going to tell me that I haven't mentioned that if you attack cuckoos, that they'll eventually gang up on you and murk you on sight. Wait, I haven't? Anyways, exploring the Ghostly Gardens, we can find this ledge we can climb up. Swapping over to the Light World, we find ourselves on top of a normally inaccessible cliff. Inside the cave, we can find a piece of heart, because what else were we going to find? On the outside of the cave, we can notice a grave that's surrounded by a bunch of black rocks. Well, that's not going to stop us from checking this thing out. Heading back to the Dark World, we can head on over to the area that is parallel to the grave and warp on back to get through those pesky black rocks. By slamming into the grave with the Pegasus boots, we cause it to open up. And inside of this grave, we can find the Magic Cape. The Magic Cape can turn us invisible, where we become invulnerable to damage at the cost of using our cursed magic. That's a nice trade-off. Anyways, continuing down the path towards the third dungeon, we eventually come to a cave that is parallel to the Light World Sanctuary. I am so curious as to what's inside of here. Inside the cave, we find an octopus. I don't know what I was expecting, but that was definitely not it. The octopus says he'll tell us a story if we pay him. You know, some of us tell stories for free. I can't wait for this line to age poorly. Anyways, after giving in to his extortion, he tells us that he saw an incredible beauty inside of the pyramid. But someone sealed the door and we won't be able to open the door with a standard issue bomb. Guess we'll have to check into that further if we ever get our hands on some more serious explosives. As we continue on our way, we eventually see a piece of heart sitting on top of a cliff. Going through the cave to get it, we eventually get blocked by a bumper. Let me through! Let me through! I need that piece to get another heart! Eventually I remember that we just got ourselves a cape that allows us to pass through objects. So I don my cape and hey, the bumper can't bump us no more. Man, the magic cape truly makes us immune to damage. Oh wait a minute, I just remember that cave on top of Death Mountain in the Dark World. I bet you that the magic cape will let us walk across these spikes with ease, and by golly, wouldn't you know it, I'm right. Eventually we have to lift a giant block, not certain how we're doing this while being invisible and presumably barely tangible, but it gives us access to a chest. And inside the chest is the Cane of Byrna. When you use the Cane of Byrna, it creates a protective ring around you which does damage to enemies that touch you. 2 protective items in one game, what a bargain. Well, might as well get out of this cave now and oh shoot, out of magic. This is going to hurt. Ow, 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 oh jeez, ow, ow, oh man, ugh.
Why didn't I get a medicine of magic? Ah!
Anyways, now that we're done with that painful experience, let's head on back to where we were at and say, isn't this where the lumberjacks normally are in the Light World? Why don't we go pay them a visit? Unfortunately, the lumberjacks don't seem to be around. Guess they must have headed off into the Lost Woods since the fog is gone. Oh well, guess we'll have to catch up with them later. What's up with this tree? This was the tree the lumberjacks were cutting down, but it's a weird color. I don't like it. I'm going to bash into it. Well, that's convenient. Falling into this hole, we can find yet another heart piece. Alright, I think I've spent enough time goofing off, and this script is by far the most schizophrenic one that I've written thus far, but how else am I supposed to get all these lovely items and get closer to completion? I will be complete! Anyways, let's tackle the next dungeon. Skull Woods. Skull Woods is interesting, as arguably the entire area is one large dungeon. There are 3 different sections of this dungeon that are spread out amongst the actual Skull Woods. It's such a cool concept that's very underutilized by the series, but boy does it make it far more complicated to even attempt to explain this place. Just be on the lookout for rabbit beams, as they will turn you back into a rabbit. Temporarily. Do a little bunny dance, do. And be on the lookout for wall masters, or as I correctly called them in the original Legend of Zelda, pervert hands. If they grab you with their grubby dirty fingers, they'll pull you to the dungeon's entrance. How in the world do they know where the entrance is in this place? Eventually, you'll somehow find the big key. I honestly have no idea how to accurately describe it without just turning this video into a walkthrough. And after you've blown a whole section of wall away, you can get the big chest, which contains the fire rod. The fire rod is kind of like the ice rod, but this one shoots fire. Surprisingly enough. Some things like the Gibdo here are especially weak to fire. It gives me pleasure to see you burn. This may seem cruel, but if you think that, you haven't played the Wind Waker. Anyways, with the fire rod, we are able to burn away this insect, which leads us to the final half of the dungeon, which involves a maze where we can't see half of it, a maze that keeps changing its layout and having to light torches. Eventually, we fall down a hole and come face to face with Mothula. Mothula sucks. Mothula can fire out beams that will hurt you, and also the floor is moving, and the entire room is filled with blade traps. You can try to hurt Mothula with your sword if you want to straight up die. Your best option is to try to hurt them with the fire rod, but weirdly enough it will fall to 4 strikes from the magic hammer. You can use the magic cape to attack this insect, but then you're left with having to stab it, as you can't use your fire rod and magic cape at the same time. It has to be called Mothra in Japan, right? No, it's called Gomasu? Even your name is disappointing. Eventually we hit Mothula enough to burn it to a crisp. It drops a heart container and another crystal. Inside the crystal is the third maiden, who tells us, "Link, because of you, I can escape from the clutches of the evil monsters. Thank you." Okay, yeah, they all say that. Good to know. Do you know the prophecy of the Great Cataclysm? Yeah, it was something about holding a book in the desert. This is the way I heard it. Oh, so there was more to the Great Cataclysm. Can't trust you for anything, Agana. I wonder how many people even know who I'm talking about right now. If a person who has an evil heart gets the Triforce, a hero is destined to appear, and he alone must face the person who began the Great Cataclysm. That's a neat way of saying that I have to clean up other people's messes. If the evil one destroys the hero, nothing can save the world from his wicked reign. So, in other words, if I fail at this impossible task, everybody's going to blame me. Wonderful. Only a person of the Knights of Hyrule who protected the royalty of Hylia can become the hero. That's not true, but okay. You are of the bloodline, aren't you? So I have been told. Wouldn't it be amazing if they got the wrong guy and it turns out that the Bugnet boy was supposed to be the hero all along? Then you must rescue Zelda without fail. I'll be honest with you, I make no guarantees.